Howdy folks, welcome back to War Thunder with the mighty Jingles. One question that I keep getting asked relatively often is, where's all the love for the Japanese? And yeah, that's a fair comment. And I really don't play the Japanese as much as I should, which is surprising considering that I love the British so much, because the Japanese fighters are a lot like the Spitfires. Not quite as durable, but they're smaller, they're lighter, they're more or less just as well armed. And they're just as agile and manoeuvrable. But yeah, why no love for the Japanese? Well, it's not just me. Gaijin Entertainment themselves haven't shown a lot of love for the Japanese either. They easily have the least fleshed out of the tech trees. I mean, compare that to the Russians, or the British, or Americans. You know, there's just not a lot there. Particularly the Japanese bombers are, well, crap. They're amazingly well armed. I mean, have a look at this, the H6K4. Look at the weapons on that. 5 turrets. And one of them's a 20mm cannon. Yeah. You know, the only problem with the Japanese bombers is they don't go any higher than rank 7. Remember, there are 20 ranks in this game. There's a rank 17 Japanese copy of the ME-163 Comet. 20 ranks in this game. The Japanese only go up to 17 in total. And their bombers only go up to rank 7. And their bombers have... Well, it's great being very, very well armoured. Look at that, six turrets. That's just wow. But their bomb loads are crap. None of them have a bomb load higher than 1,000 kilos. By contrast, if you have a look at some of the American fighters, right, not bombers, American fighter aircraft, I mean, the Thunderbolt is the most famous one for it. That carries 2,500 pounds of bombs, which is just over 1,000 kilos. So that's a fighter with a better bomb load than the best Japanese bomber. And it's, you know, it's not just the Jug. The Jug's famous. You look at the F4-1D, and that carries 2,000 pounds of bombs as well, which is almost the same bomb load as the best Japanese bombers. So the Japanese bombers are, well, they're shit. There's no two ways around it. But the Japanese fighters are amazing. Especially if, you know, like me, you're a bit of a noob, and you don't fully grasp how to fly an energy fighter to its advantages, and you just keep getting yourself into turning dogfights. And you know, I do it myself. I'm no pro at this game yet, and that's probably why I find the British better, because the Spitfires and the Hurricanes are very, very good dogfighters. The Japanese are even better. These little buggers are amazing. The Ki-61s, there's 3 of them, one at rank 5, one at rank 6, one at rank 11. Really, really agile little fighters, and reasonably well armed. I mean, they only have machine guns, but 4 50 caliber machine guns, yep, not bad. The rank 5, 2 50 caliber and 2 7.7mm machine guns, yep, not bad. The Ki-61 1C, 2 20mm cannons and 2 20mm machine guns. You know, these are good, well-armed, agile, manoeuvrable aircraft. And then, of course, the legendary Zeros. And these things are great, and they pretty much all get 20mm cannons. I think except for this one. Yeah, that one just gets a pair of machine guns, but it's only rank 1. You wouldn't expect a cannon-armed aircraft at rank 1. Rank 4, the A6M2N, you know, okay, it's not the most agile because it's a float plane, but it gets 2 20mm cannons. And despite the fact that it's got that thing dragging it down, it's actually reasonably agile. It's not as slow and cumbersome as you would expect from looking at that, because they built these things light, and there's a price you pay for that. Of course, they have like no armor whatsoever. They didn't even have self-sealing fuel tanks, no armor around the protection for the cockpit, for the pilot. They were just as light as they possibly could be, with the most powerful engine they could cram into the airframe. 2 20mm cannons, 2 machine guns, off you go. And they're pretty much all the same. But that's not a bad thing, because they're all pretty good. So I decided it was time to show the Japanese some love, time to take the skies in my Japanese fighters. And this is how it went. Okay, ground strike, 2 towns. Ground strike, flying the Japanese. Right. Well, I'm just going to have to focus on killing as many enemy bombers and ground attack aircraft as I possibly can, because the Japanese bombers are just not up to the job. So, straight into the Ki-61. Have a quick look at the opposition, and initially it looks fairly even. Not ridiculously higher level than me, at least. And the Ki-61 is very manoeuvrable. It's not very fast, though. But it climbs quite well. It's quite light. And it's reasonably well armed. I haven't unlocked anything for this. No upgraded engine, no polished fuselage, as far as I'm aware. And I do find when flying this thing that the nose is very twitchy. It's even with mouse aim, it's difficult to get the nose pointed where you want it to go. I can't imagine what a nightmare it must be for a joystick user. So, picking my target with care. This guy's isolated himself, split off from the pack. Come on. Now, you see what I mean about the... yeah, I say it's not very fast, but going into a dive like that, yeah, you pick up a lot of speed. And rather than trying to just, I did pick up a lot of speed in that dive, so instead of just throwing it away and trying to turn on the tail of the guy that you dived on, there's plenty of targets in front of you. Keep going. Use that speed. My first kill. And I've taken a few hits, but nothing serious. Now, this thing doesn't hold its altitude very well. You'll notice that when I do go into a turn, especially one as low as this, I'm dangerously close to the ground. And I've learned my lesson from head-on passes. Nobody ever wants to get out of the way in a head-on pass, so unless you want to collide, you basically, as soon as they get within half a kilometre, just turn, get out of the way. It's never worth the risk. You might shoot them down, but they're going to fly into you. And there, that guy, again, and these aren't deliberately trying to ram me, they're just, retards. They don't seem to understand that two objects flying towards each other at a combined approach speed of 1,000 kilometres per hour need some distance to get out of each other's way. It's just noobishness, basically. Nobody's deliberately trying to ram me. Not in this game, anyway. It does happen, but not on this occasion. Now, I could very easily have made a very, very serious mistake here. My engine's red, and even in arcade, if you run a red engine at full throttle, sooner or later that engine's going to die on you. And I'm debating whether or not, because I'm quite close to our airbase, and I'm debating at this point whether or not I should go back and land. And, well, I'm having a look, seeing if anybody's chasing me, and then I get greedy for kills. Was it the wrong decision? Well, you'll see how it pans out. You be the judge. So, Hawker Fury, he's an easy kill. An SB-2M, he's an easy kill. Now, the Hawker Fury's not that much of a threat, but the SB-2M has bombs, and he's diving straight on our fleet. But I have to go through the Hawker Fury to get to the SB-2M. I can't just dive past him and leave him on my tail. So, take him out, or at least get an assist out of it anyway, and that leaves us free to concentrate on the bomber. And I think this guy just rammed the battleship, but I put enough damage into him that I got the credit for the kill. And right there, a kilometre out to sea, my engine dies on me. See, the engine just went black. Now, by rights, I should have barely been able to glide with no power back to the shoreline and put this thing down in a field. But for some bizarre reason, it didn't make a lot of sense. The engine is still going. And what the hell's going on? I mean, you can see the paper doll there on the left of the screen showing that I have a dead engine. And yet, my engine's still working just fine. And I wasn't quite sure what was happening here. And one of the other reasons I wanted to put this video up, as well as the fact that it showcases the Japanese fighters really, really well, is one of the things that I absolutely hate about games like World of Tanks is that it doesn't matter how well you do, how good you are, how many kills you get, if your team are completely useless, you're gonna have a shit game. Well, with the exception of one, possibly two other players in this match, my team were completely useless. Wait till you see the scores. And I'm just using the rudders there to shed a little bit of extra speed. And I debated landing, exiting the aircraft and quitting the game at one point, and I'll point out the point at which I thought that. I thought, no, I'll stick with it. This isn't World of Tanks, I can still do well, regardless of having a team of inept window lickers. And it really did pay off. And yeah, I mean, you can see that I have a dead engine here. Look at that. Black engine, dead engine. And I get a soft landing award, but I don't get the award for landing without an engine. So, weird. Don't know what happened there. Waiting for the repairs. We don't have that many people left in the air. Everybody's quitting. And little trick that I showed you when I was flying with Devil Dog. Once your aircraft is repaired, wait for it to pop back up again, press J to leave your aircraft. Then feel free to select the same aircraft again, change the armament if you wish. If it can mount bombs, stick bombs on it, select, and bingo, you start off 2,000 meters up. You don't have to climb to altitude or build up speed or any of that rubbish. Is it an exploit? Yeah, probably. Now, P-40 Kitty Hawk. Not a bomber, but he's loitering over our ships and he can carry bombs, and P-40s are dangerous, so let's go after him. The Boomerang's chasing him, but I'm approaching from the flank, so I'm probably going to get there before him. It's just a question of staying on this Kitty Hawk's ass. And I think the Kitty Hawk's realised that I'm catching him, so he's turned. But I had the superior energy state, so I am going to catch him, and here we go. You can see the crosshair is just jerking all around the place. The nose of this thing is very, very, very twitchy. And now, of course, my having all that extra speed is a bit of a disadvantage, so I need to shed the speed, drop the flaps, try and stay on his tail, take him out. Gotcha. And the game hasn't gone completely one-sided yet, but it very, very soon will. You'll see what I mean. And why I was thinking about just quitting out of the game and trying another battle. And you'll see exactly why. So, next target. Who to go for? TU2? No, he's miles away. HE111H? Maybe. Depends what sort of fighter cover. What we got down there. All sorts of enemy fighters. Not that many enemy bombers. If we can nail their bombers, then we turn this into a who runs out of aircraft first match, which is the way Two Towns normally goes. HE111 just disappeared, and he's too far away anyway. Have a quick look around. Oh, there he is again. Oh, it's an I-15N. It's the thing, guys who have the sun behind them, it's very, very difficult to keep track of them, so I've lost sight of that HE111H, and there's a far juicier target down here. And again, really twitchy nose on this thing. Trying to keep it on the... As I say, for a joystick user, trying to actually hit something flying this thing must be a bloody nightmare. It's hard enough with a mouse. BF-109 G4. This guy's seriously, seriously higher tier than I am. As you can see, he can take some bloody damage. And he's doing what he can to shake me, but he's too low. He's too low, he doesn't have enough energy, and I've got him. Who's next? Oh, he hasn't gone down yet. That's a kill, but he's not gone down yet. And there's that HE-111. And there's a Ju-87 over there as well, so bombers, ignore the fighters. If the fighters aren't bothering you, leave the fighters alone, go after the bombers. It's a ground strike map. Pretty much the only way we're going to win this is by eliminating their bombers and then driving them out of aircraft. I'm certainly not wasting time going after ground targets with the Japanese lineup. I'll save my bomber for the last, just in case, you know, that's all I've got left. And I really derp out here. I'm trying to shed speed so I don't run into the arse of this Ju-87, and I fail miserably. Oh crap, too close, try to get out of the way, left it too late. Took my tail off, took my wing off even, and oops. So yeah, bit of a derp moment there from me. Totally my fault, not the fault of the Ju-87 driver at all. So my apologies to him. I spazzed out there. But it does give me the opportunity to jump into one of my zeros. And these things are great. They cannot take a beating at all. They're very, very fragile. But, oh, they're fast. I mean, well, they're not, you know, they're not like LA5 or BF-109G6 fast. But they accelerate well. They tend to hold their altitude well. They're very, very manoeuvrable. Bingo. Now, yeah, bullying a tier 1, but he's a Kingfisher. He carries torpedoes, and he was flying around unmolested over our ships. Couldn't let him live. And, you know, as I said, our team were mostly, with one or two exceptions, just complete derps. Who lets a torpedo bomber fly around our ships completely unmolested like that? It's just, no, don't do it. He's an easy kill. He's dangerous. He carries torpedoes. Kill him. Don't leave him alone. Focke-Wulf. D13. The Focke-Wulf Dora. This guy's what, rank 14? I'm rank 7 or 8. And he's got himself at low altitude. Trying to... I've gone for a reload here because it's surprisingly durable. You don't want to get yourself into this position. And I know I've got somebody on my tail, but I'm determined to put this guy down. He's the best aircraft on their team. And unfortunately, I didn't just have someone on my tail, I had most of the enemy team on my tail. And I ended up getting shot down by a PE-3. Oh, the humiliation. So, right, okay. That's not the only zero I have. Let's jump into another one. That was a little silly. And I didn't kill the Focke-Wulf, but I forced him to go for repairs. Unfortunately, it cost me a tier 8 zero. And now, yeah, look at that. We've hardly got anybody left alive. They're actually driving us out of aircraft. And I'm considering just landing, abandoning the aircraft, and quitting the game at this stage. But for some reason I stuck on. Actually, it wasn't at this stage. You'll see when. Anyway, enemy bomber. Take this guy out. And there's another kill. Now, what have we got left? Because I'm not seeing that many... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's me and a Sturmovik. We're the only two pilots left with any aircraft. Oh no, wait, there's 3 of us. That's it, there's 3 of us and what, 9 of them? And it's at this point where I'm thinking, oh great. Alright, I need to kill this fella. And I'm seriously debating, right at this point, screw it, go, land on the airstrip, escape, get out of here, keep the 0 intact, and go and find another game. But this guy doesn't appear to let me want to do it, so I'm going to have to deal with him first. And, you know, I love it when I see these LA5 pilots. But they've read on the forums that the LA5 is completely broken and overpowered, so they all, you know, grab themselves LA5s and then they try to get into dogfights with zeros. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, the enemy team were pretty crap. They just weren't quite as crap as our team. And there we go. Yeah. Thank you. Another 1600 XP. Cheers, easy. And now we're down to just the two of us, me and this Sturmovik. And right now at this point, I mean, I see the Sturmovik. He basically killed an enemy plane that was trying to intercept him as he was going for our airbase. Now I haven't taken any damage, and I'm just reloading my guns. And what I thought was happening here was that friendly Sturmovik was just going to land, abandon his aircraft, and then get out the game. Because there's only two of us left. And by doing that, it doesn't cost you any repairs on the aircraft that you're flying. If you just pressed quit mission right now, you would lose whichever aircraft you were flying. You have to actually land the thing and then bail out by pressing J. And I thought that's what he was doing, but then I looked down and realised he didn't have any wings, so he was actually landing to repair. But not only that, he can see the writing on the wall as well as I could. And he actually ended up switching to a fighter. So and I'm debating getting out myself at this point, and I'm just looking to see what this guy's doing. And I think, well, if he stays in the fight, I'll stay in the fight. And sure enough, he's staying in the fight. So okay, change of plan. I was going to abandon the game there and then, but I'm not going to leave this guy to his fate. If he's going to fight it out, then I will fight it out. So here we go, balls to the wall. No retreat, no surrender, nothing to lose. Live fast, die young, leave a good-looking corpse. And look at that. How many of them? So what you basically have here is two teams, the majority of both of which were just not very good. Unfortunately, we had slightly more who weren't very good than they did. And pretty much the guys that you have left are either the ones who know what they're doing, or the derps who just still had a lot of aircraft. Like this guy. I mean, what are you doing? Just look at what you're doing. You seriously just let a zero slot in on your tail? Really? Think about what you're doing. And there's Fighter Hunter. And now at this point, the only way me and my comrade Roman here are going to win is by shooting down everything on the enemy team. But it's not impossible. The enemy team weren't that good. They had a couple of decent players, but the majority of the enemy team were just as bad as my team. Pretty much the only thing they had going for them at this point was weight of numbers, and the fact that they'd already managed to run our tickets down so far. Now, I am kind of playing... I mean, they are playing to my strengths here. Low, trying to get into turning fights. But when you are so massively outnumbered like this, you cannot fixate on one target for too long. Because when you're chasing one guy down, there's another three trying to get on your tail. And if you stay flying in the same direction for more than a few seconds, they will get on your tail. So the zero is incredibly manoeuvrable. You need to really, really use that manoeuvrability. And it's only when I forget that basic lesson... There's another kill. It's only when I forget that basic lesson that I come a cropper in this match. Pick your targets with care. Yep, somebody's on me, and he's overshot. Go around, kill that A-20. A-20 needs to die. He's a fat, easy target. They only have 14 ground targets left to kill. This guy can kill them, so... This guy needs to die. There we go. Right. Another bomber over there. And I'm trying to get after the bombers, but there's just too many targets too close to me from all directions. And it's right now, I think it's around about now where I just, yeah, shouldn't be flying in a straight line for this long. It's gonna, there we go, and that's where they get me. Going after a pea shooter, and but you know, I'm not done. I still have a premium Corsair that I can jump into. But every time you lose an aircraft, your team also loses tickets, and unfortunately, that was pretty much it. We literally just ran out of tickets. Select the aircraft, and as I'm loading up, game over. So, Japanese aircraft. So there you go. The scores pretty much speak for themselves. Two teams, neither of which were that good. One team which had just more competent players than the other, although not that much more. And another reason why I absolutely love this game is, for example, if you've ever played World of Tanks and you've seen a score screen like this at the end of the game, where you are far better, you've done far better than anybody on both teams, and yet you've still lost. And then the game basically takes you outside, kicks you in the nuts over and over and over, and says, yeah, you might have been the best player there, but guess what? You're going to walk away with nothing. Well, War Thunder doesn't do that. So there you go. Fighter, final blow, 12 kills, 27,000 credits, 27,000 XP. Not as much as I would have gotten if my team hadn't sucked as much and we'd actually managed to win that. But despite the fact that my team largely were, no polite way of saying this, window-licking retards, despite that, I don't feel that I was penalised. Even though we lost, I still was adequately rewarded for the performance that I displayed in the game. And I made a couple of stupid decisions as well. Staying on the tail of that last target for so long just let them slot in on my tail and shoot me down, and I shouldn't have done it. But overall, easily the best performing player on either of the teams, and rewarded appropriately, and that's why I love War Thunder. And it's also why I love the Japanese aircraft. They're very, very agile, very manoeuvrable, reasonably well armed, and they just really seem to play to my playstyle. And I really cannot wait for the full Japanese tech tree to be introduced. I don't know if you've had a look at the release tree. I'll put a link to it in the video description so you can actually see the full release of the Japanese tech tree. And there's so many more aircraft that are going to be introduced, and I really like the way they play so far, so I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully you were amused, entertained, and hopefully educated a little if you haven't given the Japanese a try. Particularly all you British fighter pilots out there who love your Spitfires and your Hurricanes. If that's the kind of aircraft you prefer flying, definitely have a look at the Japanese. If nothing else, it gives you something to fly while you're waiting for your Spitfires to be repaired. As always, watch your six, guys, and I'll catch you later.